My name is Robin Beck. I'm the president of the board of another bookstore and GLBT Resource Center. We're located in the 100 Center in Mishawaka, Indiana, off Lincoln Way, back behind that big old hacienda. We run a bookstore, a coffee shop, and an events listening room specifically for the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender community, their family, friends, and allies. I am also the co-founder of the Northern Indiana Coalition for Equality, and we are a group that is trying to educate people in this area about a very discriminatory amendment that they're trying to add to the Constitution of the state of Indiana that will ban same-sex marriage. We believe that adding any kind of discriminatory amendment to the Constitution is just wrong. And as the co-founder of NICE, as we call it, I have ended up with a seat representing Region 2, which contains about 6 counties up here, for Indiana Equality. And we're a coalition partner with them. And I'm the co-chair of the Legislative Committee for Indiana Equality also. And Indiana Equality, with that, they are also fighting the same-sex amendment, anti-same-sex marriage amendment. And that is the #1 priority with Indiana Equality. They're also aiding several cities right now: Bloomington, city of South Bend, Fort Wayne they helped out Lafayette and Indianapolis in a big way on getting their human rights ordinances updated to include sexual orientation and gender identity. They've been very, very lucky with getting that done, and we're working with the city of South Bend right now to try to get that passed also, which will be happening here in April and May. So any kind of help that you can give would be greatly appreciated. We would love to see you out at the Resource Center. You can check us out at anotherbookstore.net. We have concerts for every walk of life. We have wonderful selection of books and coffee and snacks and light meals and such. We will be moving within the next 2 months. We're going to stay back here in the brewing building because we love it here. But we'll be moving to a bigger space so we can have larger concerts and private meetings, and we'll also be offering a lot of free counseling, legal, spiritual, mental health counseling to the community also. We hope to offer a lot of classes and seminars and just anything we can to help out the GLBT community and their allies and families.
You're doing this work full-time?
Yes, I do. I part-time, I substitute teach only because I really love working with the kids, but I'm pretty well here most of the time, rain or shine, open or closed. I am married to a beautiful woman, Patty, who is graduating in 2 weeks from Davenport with a double degree. She's been working part-time at night and going to school full-time and helping me run the place here. And we've got a wonderful 6-year-old daughter named Kaylin. And if you've ever been into the bookstore, you know Kaylin.
How long have you been married, and where did you get married?
Patty and I were married Thanksgiving Day, 2003, up in Dutton, Ontario, Canada, by a wonderful minister up there. And we celebrated our honeymoon, like a lot of people do, in Niagara Falls. We were very fortunate. We know that our marriage is not recognized at this point here in the United States, but it was very important to us to be able to make this spiritual and legal commitment to each other. Today we're celebrating a day of equality. I know that it falls on Earth Day. We might move that next year. But what we're trying to do is to get the community together to realize what is going on in the state of Indiana as far as different amendments and ordinances that are trying to gain equality for all individuals, regardless of their gender identity or their sexual orientation. Unfortunately, there are quite a few people against that, and we're trying to educate the people for it, or the people who just don't know how important it is for everyone to be treated equal.
You mentioned that you were working with the cities, particularly here in northern Indiana, because that's your territory. Have public officials been pretty open to talking to you or reviewing their human rights documents?
I've just stepped on with South Bend Equality to help them out as the Resource Center president, I've not been working that closely with the city council, but we're hoping that there are enough votes on the city council. I believe that we do have enough votes on the South Bend City Council to pass this. It's going to be up to the people, though, to recognize that this is an important fact. This is an important piece of legislation for them. Not only is it important for equal rights, but it's also important for the economy. If we want to bring in those corporations who already have anti-discriminatory ordinances in their bylaws, they're going to want to know that their people are protected when they walk out the door of their business and into their homes and the hospital and things like that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that corporations are ahead of most books.
Yes, it is, and I believe it's 400 out of the Fortune 500 companies have sexual orientation and gender identity discrimination rules.
Are there any companies here in this area, or at least in northern Indiana?
As far as I know, Sears does. Madison Center does. But unfortunately, at this point in the city of South Bend, if you walk out the door of your business, then you're not covered. You can lose your housing. You can be denied many rights. Some businesses that don't have sexual orientation or gender identity written into their anti-discrimination rules can fire you just because they don't like your sexual orientation. You can be denied hiring. You can be denied promotion because of your gender identity or orientation.
Is there more protection or less protection if the workforce is unionized? Does that make a difference?
I don't think that really makes a difference. I know that Ford and GM both offer sexual orientation and gender identity protection as a company. I'm not sure what the UAW offers, if they even get into that. I'm really not sure if they do that or not.
Right now you're concentrating on the legislation and the human rights documents more than you are
Right.
other areas.
My main concentration is against the amendment to the Constitution of the state of Indiana, which would ban same-sex marriage. And I am trying to be a voice for this community that comes into the Resource Center for South Bend Equality. So I really am not speaking as the co-founder of NICE for South Bend Equality, but just as president of the board of our Resource Center.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Is there anything...
Steve Francis, yay!
Are you going to vote for Steve?
Yes, I'm going to vote for Steve. Steve showed up today. Joe Donnelly didn't. One thing that folks, especially with your GreenTV and your green folks, need to know too about another bookstore and GLBT Resource Center is that our coffees are majority fair trade. Our roastery is extremely green. They have been named the green roaster for the state of for the United States. All of their electricity that they use is green. They're located in Olympia, and they actually resell the electricity that they make back to the grid. It's fair trade. It's organically grown. And if anybody needs coffee grounds for their garden, bring in something, and I will give you coffee grounds for your garden.
Do you still sell coffee? Do you sell bulk coffee?
We do. We can sell coffee by the pound or the half pound, ground or whole bean, whatever you like.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, we'll keep everybody caffeinated.
Well, can you think of anyone else that might be interested in talking about a specific, like maybe find out what's it like in Indianapolis compared to South Bend? That might be of interest to people around here.
Well, unfortunately, Indianapolis is a lot more open than we are here in South Bend. This
Really?
is a very closeted area.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because of the high religious and conservative right population up here. Unfortunately, a lot of gays and lesbians are very closeted. We are the first, when Patty and I opened up the bookstore back in 2004 as a retail outlet, we were the first in this area to ever do anything like this. And of course, we are the first and the only GLBT Resource Center now in the region. So if you want books oriented toward GLBT and issues and parenting and spiritual issues and things like that, you have to go to Indianapolis. there's a bookstore there, or up in Chicago. Kalamazoo's unfortunately closed. I think she was in business for over 25 years and just got tired. So she closed up shop there. And now that the community itself has made this a resource center, we've made it federally right. We're a 501c3, and the closest resource center from here would be Fort Wayne or St. Joe, Kalamazoo, up in that area.
And then, a long time ago, a friend of mine told me that he believed that South Bend actually had a fairly high percentage of gay people.
It does. We're amazed with how many folks that we have on our email list that have been into the bookstore. Some of them are finding it now just on our newsletter, or just on our website. You can sign up for the newsletter now on the website. So they're finding out about it that way. But if you take population-wise and the percentage-wise, it's an amazing number. But so far, we've touched over 350 lives. And it's just absolutely wonderful, and it's growing from there.
Yeah. It's nice that people feel comfortable to come in.
Yes, exactly.
Is this atmosphere over here conducive? Is this a good place to have?
It's a neat old building, and that's number one. It also provides kind of a nondescript parking situation, nondescript entrance for people who are still closeted. So it offers it a little bit better for them.
I'm just watching.
Oh,
Hi,
come on,
Mark.
join us.
Did you guys need me back in there?
No.
Okay.
We kind of closed it down here.
Okay, Steve Francis just walked in, so he might be stumping a little bit.
He is.
Democrat, progressive Democrat running against Joe Donnelly on the primary.
Okay. Yes, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Like, you can't forget that curly hair.
Anything else?
So I can't think of anything else.
We covered the waterfront here.
Yeah, pretty well.
My name is Hank Mascott, and I'm live here in South Bend, Indiana, and I'm a member of PFLAG, which is Parents, Family, and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. And we're a support group that helps in the coming out process, both for individuals as well as family members. We are also involved in education and advocacy. And the particular reason that I'm here today at the other bookstore, or another bookstore, is that we're working primarily out of the advocacy arm of the of this issue, and in attempting to change the non-discrimination clause for the city of South Bend to include orientation and gender issues.
How long have you been working?
It's about a 3-year process. We've been meeting, we had asked people to sign a petition. We've met with all of the council people. We've put together presentations. We've been talking to each of the council people if they would have us, and just last week the amendment was finally written, and it's going to have its first reading on the 27th, which is this coming Thursday. And we hope that subsequently will pass the city of South Bend. We see it really as a human rights issue, that all the citizens of the community really deserve equal opportunities, and particularly in the area of employment, housing, and public accommodations. And so because of our experience with families and through PFLAG, we know that there is discrimination in the community, and because gay and trans people are pretty closeted as a group in the community, they're reluctant to come forward with concerns about their situation, because there's no remedy. And that's what we're hoping that the City Council will provide. And our hope in the long run is that as more and more cities across the state begin to enact this kind of legislation, that the state itself will take up the issue of discrimination for LGBT people. My own personal involvement is that I have a sister who's lesbian and my stepson is gay, so it's something that my wife and I have come into from personal experience. And I have I'm a former Catholic priest, so I have an interest in the religious issue as well, and that's something too that I think this whole area needs to focus more on, a dialogue that hopefully in time will bring change.
Do you think it's premature to open a theological or religious dialogue here?
That's a long-term discussion. I think that's why we're starting really from a human rights stance, and hopefully that issue is going to have to come along in the aftermath, because I think religion, particularly in the Midwest, and in a city like South Bend, is such a strong part of the culture here. And but that's another day and another story and another time.
Right now, you're just seeking relief for people who are
Right.
suffering.
And the reason I'm here personally today is because we're meeting with South Bend Equality is also interested in what's happening on the state level, and Indianapolis, or Indiana Equality, was here to make a presentation, and so we're sort of linking up learning tools and techniques from them that may be helpful for us, and sharing our experience with them. And I think that sort of give and take is again fosters the dialogue and is important. So.
How deeply involved are you in the organizations? Is this something you do most of the time now, or it's just something that you devote some of your time to?
Well, we're building a new house, and I have an art business. But it's one of the passions, and it takes. It's taken a good deal of time, and it's been, it's great because I think in any situation like this, you get to know people that you wouldn't normally connect with, and you find some wonderful friendships that have come out of our work with PFLAG, with South Bend Equality, and with the city in general. One of my interests has been the business community, because I think businesses have really been in the foreground across the country in terms of benefits for gay and lesbian and bi and transgender people. And I think the community, the business community, recognizes first of all, the economic possibilities for that community, and also realize that if they have they're going to attract talent if they have a workplace that's people can be themselves. And so I've been going out to businesses and trying to solicit their interest in approaching the council and helping them. And again, that's been an interesting effort as well. And we've been doing that over a period now of a couple of years. So hopefully all that will bear fruit in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. You said that you're involved in art. Are you an artist, or do you have a gallery?
I have a master's degree in art, and I have a studio, and when I left, that was the business that I got in, and I still do commission work, and then now I have the liberty, now that I'm retired, to do some of my own work. So.
Totally creative work.
Yeah, enjoy it.
My name is Bill Browning, and I work for Lambda Consulting, which is a lobbying and organizing firm in Indianapolis. One of our clients is Indiana Equality, www.indianaequality.org. We focus on equality for gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender citizens of the state of Indiana.
What's your role? What actually do you do? If I were to go on job day and follow you around, what would I learn?
I like to think of myself as a lackey. If there's anything that needs done by George, I'll step in and do it. I'm the past chair for Indiana Equality Region 8, which is the Indianapolis area and the surrounding counties, and there we lobbied the city council to pass the human rights ordinance that included sexual orientation and gender identity. So a lot of my job entails lobbying and organizing, doing a lot of the field ops work of getting other communities to come together, pull together, and be able to fight on behalf of their civil rights.
Do you travel a lot?
Yes. Yeah, I travel all over the state quite a bit, especially doing, for example, house parties, which is an easy way to help Indiana Equality make money, is to host a house party. And all that entails is, you send out the invitations to your friends, and somebody from Indiana Equality comes and talks about the organization. And it's a nice way to connect with some of the different people throughout the state that we might not be able to connect with. And I'm a frequent speaker at the Indiana Equality house parties.
Is this your first time up here?
Yes, this is my first time to South Bend, so I'm now officially a St. Joe green instead of an Indianapolis green.
Yeah, I'm tempted to do a close-up of that. How long have you been a green?
Pretty much since my mid-20s. I of course, the Democratic Party is as close as it comes for me, but it's not quite liberal enough, to use the dreaded L word. I really like that the Green Party nationally stands up for gay, lesbian, and bisexual, transgender rights. That's very important to me and very important to my family.
So you're a green, I'm going to say big G green. Are you also a small G green?
I'm more of a big G, I would say. I'm a little G as well. We recycle at home. We make sure all the lights are turned off. Turn off the water when you're brushing your teeth. For the environmental concerns as well. But mostly, I'm a big G because I believe in the platform of the National Party.
Right. So when the Greens get on the ballot in Indiana, you'll be happy to vote for Green candidates?
I'd be more than happy to vote for a Green candidate.
Do you think you'd ever run for office as a Green?
I wouldn't put it out of the question. The easiest way to get involved with Indiana Equality is to go to www.indianaequality.org, all one word, and sign up there for the email list. We have a pretty good South Bend contingent already, but we're always looking to recruit more people. We're always looking for people to host house parties. We're always looking for volunteers, people who can write, people who can do web-savvy stuff, anybody that has experience in field organizing or fundraising. Those are obviously somebody we're going to jump right on and use as much as we possibly can. But it's a great organization. It's focused on adding LGBT rights, civil rights to the Indiana state law and to defeating the discriminatory constitutional same-sex marriage amendment that not only bans same-sex marriage, but also gets rid of the legal incidence of marriage, which is an unproven legal term that can mean everything from inheritance rights to hospital visitation, you name it. It can be domestic. In Michigan right now, we have cases that are going forward where domestic violence convictions are being overturned because they're not married. Well, that's legal incident of marriage. So this is something that can really adversely affect the whole entire state of Indiana, not just the LGBT population.
Right. I heard about the confusion in Michigan about cops wouldn't go out to a home, or they wouldn't break up a fight, or
right, because
or
it's
prosecutors won't prosecute
because it's legal incident of marriage, domestic violence. Domestic violence laws were enacted to help protect the girlfriends. That because you can, it's easier to punish for assault if it's a husband and wife. So when they introduced the domestic violence laws, it was so they weren't having to just do it as assault. They were able to say this is somebody that's even worse than assault because this is a family unit. Well, gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender folks have families just as much as anybody else. And so domestic violence laws were always used in those cases as well. And now they're being overturned because, according to the state constitutional amendment, we wouldn't be a family. We wouldn't be anything to each other. Hospital visitation, if my partner is sick and in the hospital dying, I could literally be turned away from the hospital by the hospital because it's a legal incident of marriage. Only family is allowed in the room. Or inheritance. You can't inherit and get tax benefits or get any kind of breaks like that. It's a legal incident of marriage.
health insurance, all that sort of thing.
Exactly. Domestic partner benefits.
Well, is there anything you want to say in closing?
Everybody should support Indiana Equality. It's a worthwhile organization, especially for the state's lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender folk. If if you're not involved, you need to be, because this is an upcoming battle that we're fighting here, and it's a battle of ideology, of whether or not civil rights are something that should be extended to all people, or it should be just the exclusive domain of the very privileged few. And we know that that's not the case. So everybody should go to www.indianaequality.org.